Okay, so in this video I want to talk about the privilege that we have as adults if when we were children our basic needs were met. And there has been so much talk, even on my channel, I say even, my channel's been about that healing journey, that getting ourselves to sovereignty. But that is so much easier when, as children, we find that our basic needs were met. It allows us to have that hope and hold on to that hope and to know that love or a version of that love, and to be able to work to a version that we want if it wasn't the version we wanted when we were younger. But we have that, and that is such a privilege, and that's what I want to explore in this video, because there is such a lot that has gone on in the past to beautiful souls, to strip them of that hope and of that love. So without further ado, let's unpack it. Hi and welcome to Outlaw Door. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Claire Attio. For those that are returning subscribers, thank you. And for those that are new, welcome in. So as I said in the intro, that privilege of having our basic needs met when we were children. And yes, I had a full understanding of that from an academic psychological perspective. I've been able to live in that as growing up as an adult, but I don't think I fully comprehended how profound an effect that has on a person's psyche if those needs aren't met. When I'm talking about those needs, I'm talking about real basic stuff. Knowing that you're going to have a bed to sleep in, knowing that there is going to be a meal on the table, knowing that one or the other parent is going to be available to you when you get home from school. I'm talking about real basic needs. And as I said in the intro, yeah, I've kind of studied that on a psychological level. I've had an understanding of that, but it's only this past week that I have deepened that understanding and really taken on board the damage that is done when that isn't available to us as children. And that comes from an exercise I was doing. For those of you that have been watching and following the channel, you know I'm now working for a charity, and I was doing an exercise with people that attend that charity place this past week, and we were talking about childhood dreams, childhood aspirations, and they struggled. They struggled because that hope, that ability, that permission to dream, to have those aspirations had been ripped from them as children. And although I knew going into the session that it would be challenging because I do have an insight into their backgrounds, I didn't fully comprehend how challenging that would be for them and how uncomfortable that would be for them. But what hit me the most was their massive, massive hearts. And okay, life has given them lemons, and it took away any tools to turn those lemons into lemonade. They were stripped from them. That hope, that aspiration was stripped from them. And that is such a good analogy, because we're always saying, if somebody gives you lemons, turn them into lemonade. On the coaching perspective, we're always saying that, but that's only effective if those tools to turn it into lemonade haven't been stripped from you as a child, if they haven't been taken away from you as a child. And it got me to thinking about my own journey, and I was super fortunate and super privileged that I knew my parents were going to be home. I knew that food was going to be on the table. I knew I had a bed. I knew all of those things. They were taken for granted. And I think that's the thing, is reminding ourselves that those basic needs, most of us got to take for granted. And yet there were thousands and thousands of children, possibly even in your school, possibly even in your class, that you didn't realize, you didn't understand, you didn't comprehend that wasn't their reality. And because that wasn't their reality, as they have grown into adults, they do not allow themselves to hope. They do not allow themselves to aspire. They do not allow themselves to dream, because they have a very valid fear of that being ripped away from them, because that is what life taught them. That was the program that was given to them mentally, energetically, and has become part of their belief systems as they have grown into adults. But what I actually seen from that, because one of the other exercises that I actually did was I did that exercise purely because I knew it would be challenging, and so I wanted them to start to realize that their past is just one chapter of the book, and they get to write the rest of the book. And so I wanted them just to start to explore that a little bit. That was one of the reasons why I did that. One of the other exercises that I actually did was to get them all to write down something that they could do for another over Christmas. What I didn't tell them is I was gonna mix it all up, and they had to take somebody else's out, which kind of lifted the energies, because before that it really was pulling teeth, and you could feel the energies drop the more I tried to get them to tune into what they wanted to be as children, what their hopes and dreams were. The more that ripping away, that stripping away of their soul essence that had occurred, and they started to tap into that. I'm not sure whether they were fully aware that that's what they were tapping into, but energetically you could feel the vibrations dropping and dropping and dropping. So I wanted to lift them again, which is why I did the last exercise. So they went out on a high, they went out feeling good, and having brought laughter in, because we know laughter is such a healing tool. What blew me away, and I kind of had an inkling, I'm going to be honest, I kind of had an inkling, because there is an understanding within me, and I felt it before when I've been doing the group, that those hearts were very, very big, and that is why they have been so damaged. And I've often wondered whether it was intentional on an energetic level, on a spiritual level, and my personal opinion is yes, because they have such massive hearts, and given the right paradigms and given those basic needs as children, they would have grown into innovators and world changers, because of their big capacity to love and that compassion. But of course, not having those basic needs provided when they were younger has left them in survival mode only, and with very little tools to step into the thrive mode. And that's some of the work that myself and many others within the organization are doing currently, is to give them tools so that they can start to thrive in life. What happened during that last exercise was that every single one of them stated that they would give up time on Christmas Day so that others could have some hope, could have some joy, could have a hot meal, could have shoes without holes, could have a warm coat and a bed to sleep in. And it was so heartwarming, and it really confirmed my thoughts, my feelings, my intuitional interpretations of the energies that I had been feeling on previous occasions when I had worked with this particular group. That was magical, and it was a privilege to be part of. And sorry, the emotions are rising in me, because it really was a privilege. To see people that have had everything stripped away from them at such a young age, and who have had to struggle just for the basics through life into their adulthood, and for some of them into middle age, to then be willing, openly willing, to give up their time, to give their energy, and to give the few things that they had to others so others can attain that hope, was inspirational, was a monumental moment of pure high vibrational love. I've done loads of videos where we've talked about how we need to heal our family dysfunction and step from the current cycle and breaking generational cycles. These guys have been on a cycle since they were children, with no tools, with no respite. They haven't had the respite, they haven't had the finances, they haven't had the energetic breaks to just step back from being in that survival mode. And yet here they are, willing to offer that to others. And that for me was all inspiring, and it was amazing to see. I think the point of this video is we can all think, woe me, we can all be in a place, and life does send us curveballs, and there are times when we really struggle with them. But if we have had the privilege of having our basic needs met as children, we are already halfway up that ladder to thriving. Yes, we may need to do healing. Yes, we may need to reframe mindsets and beliefs and values that were given to us or pushed upon us. But our hope, that fire within us, even if it's a small flicker, is a flicker. With deep skies, in some of them, it's barely an ember. And so if you know of somebody that has barely an ember, blow air into it, ignite it for them. Don't have attachment. Don't start telling them they need to step into being thrive. They are so far into their survival mode that to tell them that they can thrive is like telling them they can climb Mount Everest without any training or any equipment. But just gently, nonchalant, breathe air into that ember for them. Allow it to be ignited again within them. And the divine will do the rest. The divine will guide them and show them and assist them and bring things towards them so that they can make their choices using their free will. But if we do anything for each other over Christmas, it's just share your light. and understand that those of us that do the work that we do is because our basic needs were met. There are others that were closed down in a very heavy, very big way and are still struggling to get onto their path. But by golly, when they do, that's when we will start to see massive change in this world. If you've liked this video, then hit that like button. If you have not yet subscribed, then please subscribe. If you think a friend would benefit from listening to this, then by all means share it. Until next time, beautiful souls, take care. Bye bye.